Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas with you this morning, and we're joined by Sherry McKinley France, who is from the Children's Network, and Angie Duck from Job and Family Services. Both of you, this is a tough topic, so hard to see, so painful. How do you do your jobs? What do you do to be able to get up in the morning and go to work every day, knowing that you're helping someone, but it's got to be tough?
You just do it. You rely on friends, family, coworkers. We are our own support network, almost like a second family. You talk to your coworkers and support one another, especially in those really tough cases. You just get in there, do what you need to do. You rely on your supervisor, for guidance and any kind of support that way.
Sherry, you have more? You agree?
I think it's also really good. I agree with everything that Angie said. And I think it's really good to have a couple of healthy outlets, hobbies, whatever it is. If you run, I do all kinds of different things, just a way to just really kind of get away and decompress. Exactly. Wow. Something not related at all.
Well, thank you for doing what you do. It's definitely a calling. And this is something that we're not talking about a certain socioeconomic group, are we? This is just a no respecter of persons kind of thing.
Absolutely. Since I've been at the Children's Network about 1.5 years, and we literally, since I have been there, have served families, for example, in Skyline Terrace, which is a subsidized housing, so people in poverty, and we have served families at Glenmore. So we have served every socioeconomic, every race, gender, ethnicity, religion. Child abuse absolutely does not discriminate. It happens in your family and it happens in my family. Some of us are just better at hiding it than others.
Wow, that's a statement. Why do you think, because it seems easier to understand if a family is struggling and has the financial pressures, and that kind of thing seems like that could really lead someone to lose their cool and respond in a way they didn't intend to, did not mean to. Why do you think it also happens how can there be pressure when everything is just rosy good economically in a family?
I think there's just a lot of different pressures we experience. And I think if you don't have money issues, then you have other issues in your life.
There's always something in there.
Yeah. Maybe it's your family. Maybe your marriage is on the rocks. Maybe you're worried about losing your job. Maybe you have financial issues and nobody knows.
Could be mental health.
Absolutely.
Could be things out
Addiction.
of their control. Yep. Substance abuse.
Yeah, it's so
many
complicated.
Factors. Yeah.
And then the children are always the victims of those kinds of things. Let's talk about foster care. If a child is removed from an unsafe situation, placed in a safe home, let's talk about that a little bit. The need for foster parents, what's required, how you go about it. How do you foster a child if you're saying, I want to help?
Well, you can visit our website at starkjfs.org, and there's a recruitment line there that the individual can call. Once the individual calls and wants to be a foster or adoptive parent or both, there's a duly licensed procedure. Somebody will contact them, and a social worker will be out to interview them, explain to them some of the state mandates that they have to do. There's trainings that they have to attend. They'll complete a home study, background checks, make sure that their home is safe. They'll have a safety audit completed. And there's just some various things that go along with that. And once that's done, then the family is opened up, so to speak, as a foster to adoptive home. Even if they had no intentions of adoption at the time that they wanted to foster, we usually recommend that they become duly licensed. That way, if they ever have any kind of an opportunity that would present itself, say a child's placed in that home for a year or more and they choose to adopt, then they're able to do so.
And you're ready to just move into that. It's more seamless.
Yeah. And we really try to rely on our own foster parents, as much as we can when kids are placed there to adopt. Because, they're the ones that have bonded with the child, supported that child through that reunification process with their parents, if that's the case at the time. So there's a lot of good factors in there that we really try to use our own foster parents. And also kinship. We really try to place with a family that the child has a relationship with, or someone that has a vested interest in the child. So about a fourth of our kids are placed in kinship home.
I'm interested in that kinship care. Is that a grandparent raising a grandchild as a child?
It
Maybe
could
a
be.
sister, brother, something else? How does that work?
Could be a friend, a neighbor, a godparent. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's blood related to the child. Maybe, a distant relative that's not really blood, on a birth certificate, but yet, they've been around, they've seen the parent. They might know some of the parents' issues and, like I said, have a vested interest with that child. Sometimes they don't know the child, but the parent has named that person as somebody suitable that they believe could raise their child in the event that they can't do so.
About how long of a process are we talking about to have the audit, make sure we have enough smoke detectors and so forth? What are we looking at?
Roughly about 6 months.
Okay.
Sometimes it can go a little less than that, but that's, what the state time frame is for
And
us.
financially, what could a person plan on?
Typically, we do not charge for any kind of home study processes. However, if they have to put in extra things in their home, make something safe, any kind of remodels, that would be up to the parent if they choose to do that. Medicals, they have to get a yearly medical exam, that would be up to them and their private insurance, or if they pay out of pocket. There's a well check if they have well water. There are rabies vaccinations for dogs and cats. Those are little incidental charges that they would have if they chose to foster, to adopt.
We're speaking with Sherry McKinney France and Angie Duck about National Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is April. And if you're planning on being at First Friday, this Friday, be sure to look for them and find out the information that's going to be available. Also, we want to remind everybody, please wear blue on April 13th, but you find out about a number of other programs and initiatives taking place as well. What does the situation in Stark County look like? What are we talking about as far as children who are waiting to be adopted, children looking for foster homes? What's our situation?
Well,
don't have to be strict numbers, but what is it?
Sure. Well, our hotline, which, as Angie said, is 330-455-KIDS, gets thousands of calls a year. And we investigate thousands of concerns a year. And we currently have around 120 children that are awaiting adoption. They're either waiting for adoption or in what we would call like adoptive status. So they're in a home, but things haven't been finalized yet.
What ages are we talking about?
Oh, birth to 18.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Sibling groups. Children that have special needs of one kind or another. You can imagine a child who's been, severely abused and or neglected, might have some emotional challenges. They might have some mental health issues. It could be a child who has a disability. Children who have disabilities are at a greater risk of being abused. Or it could be an older child.
And you're always needing families that are willing to say, we'll be happy
Always.
to foster. I know one of the hesitancies might be that they've got their own children by birth in the home, and they're concerned that you bring in a child who's been severely abused, that they have so many socializing issues that it might not bode well for their birth children. Can you address that a little bit?
I
As
just
you
think,
look at each other saying, you say it, no, you say it.
I think people have to do what's right for their family. And we would encourage people, we would never want a parent to sacrifice the well-being of their own children for any other child. But, kind of take inventory, what works in your family? What behaviors can you handle? What age? Do you want to not disrupt the birth order in your family? Does it not matter? Where do you have extra space in your house? Do you want it to be a boy so it can share a bedroom with your son because you don't have room with your daughter, et cetera? So, really the more a family knows about themselves, the better it is and the easier it is to place. Now, let me say, if they call and say, well, I'd like a 7-year-old girl with green eyes and brown hair. Well, and we have that sometimes.
Wow.
That person's going to wait a really, really, really long time. So instead of thinking of, necessarily like what the child would look like, or think more of your family makeup and how the child could fit into
Activities that the family likes to do together.
Yeah.
So interesting. Again, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Two of you must have in your time seen some wonderful, wonderful happy endings and great stories. Anything that you can share with us?
It's really neat to see older kids be adopted, kids that, there's not a lot of families coming around to adopt, a 16-year-old. Or a 17-year-old. But to see that finalized and see that child have a permanent forever home, it's awesome. It really is. We had a few adoptions earlier last month that were just really neat to watch. I got to go over and witness some of those. So it was just really cool. Just a cool thing.
How about you, Sherry? Something stand out as just a wonderful thing that you've gotten to witness?
Well, the things that are on my mind lately are, children who have been seen at the network and received services at the network, and that we were able to successfully prosecute cases and get justice. And, that's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is. Okay, we want to give this number again, 330-455-KIDS, 330-455-5437. And Monday, Monday, April is going to be kickoff National Child Abuse Prevention Month. So the kinds of things that will be taking place at First Friday, what should we watch for?
Watch for pinwheels.
Pinwheels.
Yeah, we have these really awesome, 4 foot tall, maybe pinwheels, and they're really cool, like a turquoise and orange or something. So look for those. There will be probably 10 different stations all over downtown. So if you see a big pinwheel, you can stop, and they're going to encourage people to take selfies. And, as Angie said earlier, this is a statewide initiative, the Selfie Campaign.
Okay.
And so they will be used all month long, to help
Where will
raise
these
awareness.
Appear if you take your selfie?
Well,
Where
hopefully,
might it show up?
Hopefully it will appear on the Job and Family Services Facebook page. And then it'll be linked to different state partners, probably the Ohio Children's Trust Fund, Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, and other really great partners of ours. And there will be thousands and thousands.
Oh, yeah.
This just started last year, the Selfie Campaign.
Very cool. Is there a hashtag we should use?
Selfie, I believe.
Selfie? Hashtag selfie.
Is it?
Think.
Wear a blue selfie.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that information might be on the website.
We'll make sure it is.
StarkJFS.org. Again, that's StarkJFS.org. And again, you suspect anything, please don't hesitate. Pick up a phone. Call 330-455-KIDS. And this is something we want you two to not have jobs anymore, right?
That'd be great.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today on Our Community.